Afternoon, teacher. This is Vivian. Here is my ID card. My name is Vivian Moreno, and I am going to talk about plagiarism and the types of plagiarism. So I'm going to share the screen right now. Okay, so in this presentation, I'm explaining what are the types of plagiarism, what is it, and how can we prevent it. So first we need to know what is plagiarism. So plagiarism is presenting someone else's ideas as our own without their permission or without acknowledging it. As you can see in the picture I have here, plagiarism is like committing a crime. It's that much serious because in fact you are stealing something, or you're stealing the effort, you're stealing the work of another person and taking credits for it. And that is so unfair because you're having the credits for something you really didn't do. So that's why this is kind of serious. Now, what is the importance of being aware of plagiarism? It is important to know because as I mentioned before, this is a very serious issue. Unfortunately, sometimes people don't have idea about plagiarism, or they can make this mistake unintentionally, right? So this is why we need to know which are the types, how can we avoid, so that we can carry out good assignments, academic assignments, since when we do some research, we are analyzing information from other sources and we are using it. So how can we avoid committing plagiarism? First, we have here the first type of plagiarism, which is copy and paste information without acknowledging. What is this? As you can see in this picture, is taking the information from whatever source and copying it exactly from the original one, right? So you just copy paste and you don't mention where did you take the information from. That is copy paste. This is one of the most common types of plagiarism, especially with the students. They just Google something, they copy everything and paste in a Word file to do any homework. So don't do this, please. The next type we have is self or auto plagiarism. What is this? Well, if you can see in the picture, here we have a question. Is recycling your work plagiarism? Right? So this is about recycling, reusing a previous work that you did. Let's say you have another assignment to do and the topic is similar, or you think that you have an assignment that can be useful to be included in a new one. So that is self auto-plagiarism, because you're like stealing your own work to do in another one. So this is another common type of plagiarism. We must not do that. Then we have collusion, right? Collusion. Here we're talking about a group of people, right? A group of people doing the same work, even though they were asked to do the assignment individually. So this is why collusion is totally plagiarism, right? Because it should be done just by one student, not by a group of students, right? The next one, the next type of plagiarism is cloning, right? What is cloning? Is copying an exact page or entire work and passing it off as your own work with no citation, of course, or in other words, without acknowledging it, right? What is this? You just take another person's work, you present it as if you have done it, and you just change the author. You say, okay, this was written by me, not by this other person who really make an effort to do the assignment, to do the work, right? So that is cloning. On the right, you can see a picture of, of a person very surprised, right? So here is the reflection. Imagine how a person can feel if you take their work and all the credits for something you didn't do. It's not only about the feeling of the other person, like being stolen, right? But it can be also, it can have also legal consequences because you're taking credits for something you didn't do. So don't do it. Now, the next type of plagiarism is the mosaic. What is the mosaic? Well, you can see in the picture and have a little idea about what is it. On the right, sorry, on the left, you have a very nice with colors, all the parts fit together perfectly, right? And on the left, on the right, excuse me, you can see, well, this is not a piece of art. This is um this is a piece of plagiarism, right? So what is the mosaic plagiarism about? This is when you take a specific information from different sources. So you're trying to be smart and say, well, if I take information from this and from this and from another resource, different resources, I'm not much likely um, to be committing plagiarism, right? Because anybody will know, anybody will notice. But as you can see here, all the all the highlighted sentences with the numbers and stuff and different colors are exactly parts from the internet, from the resources, from the original pages, just adapted to fit together to make sense. Of course, they make sense, but it's incorrect because you are not citing the author, right? Seems like it's perfect, but when you check it with a program, because now there are a lot of programs to detect plagiarism, the program will detect it very, very fast. Okay, so don't do this either, please. The next, let's move on with the next type of plagiarism, which is the remix. What is the remix plagiarism? It's a combination of paraphrasing and copy messages with no citation. There are small changes made to the content to create smooth transitions. Now, the person doing the assignment and making the remix plagiarism can also think like he's very smart when paraphrasing everything, because they would say, okay, I'm not copying exactly what it says, I'm just changing it a little bit with different words. Let's say, if in the example it says, the city is amazing, you say, the city is awesome, right? Only making these little changes, right? But as you can see here, you are, of course, you're actually taking another person's ideas and simply copying. So if you do that, of course, you also have to cite. You have to cite, you have to mention where did you take the information from. Next, we have find and replace. What is find and replace? Replacing mainly with synonyms and specific words or short ideas, right? And then just copying and paste without acknowledging what you have here. Where did you take the information from? So this is an example that you can see on the screen, right? Finally, we have the verbatim, verbatim plagiarism, which is not like copying and paste or selecting a certain information from any source right? Because it's more like with a spoken language. When you watch a video or when you hear an interview or something, you copy the ideas from the person who was interviewed, and simply don't mention where did you take the ideas from. So people also would say, well, if it was spoken and there's no evidence, written evidence that it's another person's ideas, could be okay, or anybody will notice. But this is also another type of plagiarism. Now, what are my final thoughts? The first thing is to avoid plagiarism. Now that we already know what is this about, the different types and stuff, we don't have any excuses to make plagiarism, right? I know creating a totally new paper, let's say essays, reports or something, it's really hard because it's about doing a lot of research, trying to fit the parts together, gathering information from all sources, and also being aware of uh, the authors from each page we were using to take information. And the process is really difficult. The process is really long, and it takes time. But you would think that just copying and paste is the faster way and the easiest. But as you can see, you are not doing something. You may think it's not a big deal, but yes, it is, right? So please don't do that. Don't do plagiarism. Don't make plagiarism. Now, at the end of the day, the satisfaction of feeling that you created your own work, right? It will be very, very good, right? And also to avoid feeling like a robber, because as I mentioned before, plagiarism is a type of a crime, right? So you are actually stealing ideas, which is also a serious issue. So here we have a, a picture that explains better my idea about not copying and being original, being creative. Plagiarism is the fastest way and the easiest way. But the creation, as you can see, it takes time, right? It takes time to have a final job perfectly, avoiding plagiarism. So I'm not saying that it's incorrect to look for resources, also taking the same words from another person's work. But the only thing you have to do is give the credits. Give the credits to the person who did the work. And that's it. That's it. So I hope everything was clear. I hope you liked this presentation. Thank you very much.